Hey everybody, today's video is going to be separate from my vlogs because I'm going to go into detail about my interview for the Disney Store sales associate at Plaza Bonita. Today's video is going to be divided into a few segments. What happened before I got called in for the interview, the events that happened before the group interview, and what I thought about the interview in general. First, I want to talk about what happened before I got the call. So the morning of the 22nd, I was applying for a couple positions for the Walt Disney Company. I applied for an office assistant position for Disney Consumer Products, and I also applied for a special projects coordinator in Burbank. So I applied for those positions around, I believe it was around 11 or 12 o'clock. And about an hour later, I received an email requesting to complete a few documents for the interview process. And I remember thinking to myself, I've never had an email like this ever since I applied for the Disney College program. So I knew that there was a new step in the interview process, but I did not know which job it was applying to because it didn't say in the email. It just said application process, documents, follow-up. And for some reason, I assumed that it was for either the office assistant position that I applied for or the special projects coordinator. And I don't know, I got my hopes up for some reason. And I completed that. It took less than 10 minutes to complete. I finished it, and about 2 hours later, I received a call from Disney Store saying that there's a couple openings available and they're wondering if I can come in for a group interview. So I was like, absolutely. I remember when they said Disney Store, I was super surprised because I applied for that position late May. And so I didn't expect it because it's getting close to the end of July. So I didn't expect it. I was like, whoa, really? And I remember thinking to myself when I applied for that position, I was like, dude, it would be weird working at SeaWorld and working at Disney at the same time because they're kind of like competitive theme parks and businesses. So I thought that would have been really interesting if they were to ask me a question about working at SeaWorld versus working at Disney, but that's something for a one-on-one interview kind of question. So I applied for the Disney Store in Plaza Bonita in National City. So I get to the mall there and I see that there's already 2 people waiting at the table for the group interview. And we ended up having a conversation about when did we apply for the positions, why do you like Disney, and one of the girls was wearing a Disney pin, so we talked about Disney pin trading and how much we love it. And she was also talking about how stressed she was because she's been preparing for the Disney College program. She applied for it and then she's going to be having a phone interview, so she was really nervous. And I can really tell she was nervous. Her hands were shaking, she was stuttering, and she's really passionate about the Disney College program. She really wants to work for Disney. And she was telling me how she was preparing for this phone interview for 140 days. That's insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that shows how much she really wants to work for the company, but 140 days preparing for a phone interview? Wow. I remember specifically how I talked to her and gave her my advice because I was part of that. I went through that process and I told her it's fine, don't worry, you don't need to prepare so much because you're just gonna nerve yourself out, you're gonna blank yourself out, don't worry about it, just be yourself. And right off the bat, they said, so you've worked for Disney before? I said, yeah, I participated in the college program in the fall last year. I worked at the Disneyland Resort at World of Disney, and I was there for 6 months, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't my intention to show it off. I was just trying to give my advice because I was part of that. And for some reason, when you are a part of the Disney College program, you kind of have this responsibility to give advice to people who are interested in the college program because you want to give that good note about the program because it is an awesome program and it's a wonderful opportunity to offer college students to work at Disney and have that taste of creating that magic. So I was thinking to myself, I should give this girl advice because she's panicking so much, she's stressing, and I don't want her to stress her so much. It's easy, don't worry so much. It wasn't my intention to show off. And I felt so bad. I really felt bad because the guy who was sitting across from me is like, dude, you're gonna get the position anyway. Why am I even doing the group interview? I was like, whoa, it's not guaranteed. Just because I've been a cast member does not mean that I'm gonna be automatically getting this position. And then the girl, she was saying, well, I already had a one-on-one with one of the supervisors here, and she already told me that those who've already participated in the college program or who have already worked as a cast member usually do get the job. And I really felt bad because like their mannerisms really went like to the down low. They're like, oh, blah blah blah. They were really down. They didn't really feel like talking after that. I felt really bad. This group interview would actually be my first group interview for a job. I've never had that group interview, and if you know me, I'm really competitive, and it's really difficult for me to be in that kind of situation because it's hard to be competitive but also root for others, because most companies are looking for that team player who is looking to be competitive and be passionate about the job but also root for others when they do very well. It was a very difficult situation for me at that time when they felt like it was worthless to be at that interview. During the group interview, I can't go into detail because the last time I went into detail about interview questions, Disney actually called me up and said, hey Jamie, we just want to inform you that we actually found your blog, and it's a wonderful blog, but is there a way that you can take down the interview questions from the Disney College program? We would really appreciate it, just to give a fair advantage to those who can't find your vlog and whatnot. Yeah, they researched it. So here's a little tip. If you do plan on making a blog, video log, or if you somehow write interview questions and post it online that Disney actually uses, I'd recommend not to do it because they will find it, they will call you up. So I'm not going to go into detail about the interview questions at Disney, but they did ask us questions based on our answers in the beginning and just based on our resume, based on our experience. So they do go into detail about your previous work experience and why you want to work for Disney. Okay, so that's that. And we did do a couple role-playing situations, so that was really fun. However, I felt really bad for the two other people who were in that group interview because they didn't do very well. And that isn't to highlight that I was better than them, but they received a lot of feedback, and it was feedback that you don't really want to hear in an interview. For example, say one of them just finished the role-playing situation and the interviewer was like, that was good, but, and they were offering their criticism. So that happened both times for them, and I felt super bad for them because one of the girls didn't do very well, and then she was like, oh my god, I suck, there's no way to recover from that, blah blah blah. I was like, don't worry, just keep calm, don't worry, you'll be fine, just do better next time. She's like, there's no way I could do better, you did awesome, blah blah blah. To be honest with you, during those role-playing situations, I felt so happy. I felt like I was at home. It was like a natural environment for me. It's something that I can usually never do at SeaWorld, that it's just natural for me to do in a Disney environment. I wanted to show that interviewer that Disney is where I want to be, it's where I belong. So I tried to show that in my role playing, and I think I did an amazing job at it. The interviewer gave me high fives on both times I did my role playing situation, so I'm assuming that she liked me. Some details about the job is that there are 2 openings for cast members. There were a total of 4 group interviews on the 23rd, and yeah, so there's 2 openings. The next step in the interview process is they're going to be calling up finalists for a one-on-one interview with the assistant to the interviewer, who was the supervisor for Disney Store. So if I were, the next step is if I'm selected or if they like me, I'm gonna get a call in about 1-2 weeks, and hopefully I'll pass that stage and hopefully come home to Disney. It's really hitting home because ever since I left the program, I've been trying to find my way back to the company. If you've been following my blog, To Imagineering and Beyond.blogspot.com, you've read on the professional internship that I was rejected in. I was one of the finalists and I wasn't selected for the internship, so that's kind of why I had to stay back in San Diego to look for a job, and that's how I ended up at SeaWorld. And it's been a long time coming. I've been constantly looking at Disney careers, looking to find a way through executive assistant, administrative assistants, obviously Disney store, and I've applied to mechanical engineering internships. There's been some like specific project coordinator positions that I've applied to as well, and I haven't been selected for any of those. I haven't passed that first stage, so it really has been a long time coming, and I've accepted the fact that if I were to be selected for this position, I'm willing to make my way up to in the company, and I really just gotta work hard and do what I do best, and hopefully I find my way back to WDI, and that's where I want to be. That's where I find joy, Disney. It's very hard to explain how much I want to get back to Disney, but coming back to Disney through the Disney store is just that small step to finally get back into the company, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to do it. So I'll inform you all of the next step, and if I get selected for a one-on-one interview, I'll update you on that. So thank you all for watching my videos and wish me luck. Thank you.